Hi, it's me, your Void, and today we will meet my soulmates. In case you haven't noticed, I am a bit of a gremlin. I do weird stuff. I do weird stuff all the time. I'm weird and I'm embracing it. I am a gremlin. I mean, if you look at the wall behind me, that kind of chaos, that is what I go for. So I thought to myself, are there book characters that match my freak? And there are quite a lot. So I made a list because I also love lists. So I made a list, and now I have a list of people who are just. Do you get my point? In case you ever need main characters to be gremlins for something, have some recommendations, I guess. Starting off with Gregor and Simon from A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. This is a book about Simon and Gregor. They are a botanist and a taxidermist, and they have a very weird idea, and then they make that idea happen, and suddenly they have a botanical daughter, which is a woman, question mark, made out of plants and a corpse. It is basically the vegetarian version of Frankenstein. Also, it is explicitly queer, and not just subtext queer. And if this description doesn't give you enough vibes of gremlin aesthetic, they live in a greenhouse. There is a perfectly situated house. Well, the house burned down at one point, but they have the money to rebuild the house. They have the money to rebuild a better house, but they don't want to. They just live in that greenhouse. And that greenhouse is, by the way, still an actively working greenhouse for tropical plants specifically. Think about the humidity. They just live there. They retrofitted the whole thing to have a bathroom and a bedroom, and they retrofit it again because someone else is moving in with them to have another bedroom. Simon has a cellar full of dead animals, and not only does he have a cellar full of dead animals because he's a taxidermist, no, he makes art with them. He has like little hamster bishops, and he has 2 kittens being married. He makes little outfits for them and tells little stories with the way he's arranging them. And then they steal a body, fill it with plants and fungus, and raise it as their daughter. Do I need to say more? They are absolute disasters. I have no idea why they are together, but their love is unbreakable. Like, it's literally unbreakable, yet every scene they are in together, they apparently hate each other. It's glorious. It is such a glorious vibe they have. Each, like individually they are gremlins, but together the gaggle they form is just brilliant. Then we have Lucian from The Magpie Lord by KJ Charles, aka the titular Magpie Lord. And Lucian is a gremlin because he can. He has no reason to be a gremlin. I'm pretty sure he would not be a gremlin if he had been, I guess, raised right. His dad never really liked him, and then he did a thing because he wanted to be himself. He did a thing, and then he was like banished to Shanghai. And instead of suffering in exile, he made a living out of being the stranger and was just like unapologetically himself. And in The Magpie Lord, he has to come back because his dad died and he inherited everything, including the title, but also a curse. And then he meets Stephen Day, who is a magician, and he has to deal with the curse. But problem being, they have some history, their families have some history together, and yeah. Chaos abound, but Lucian, being a gremlin, comes into play mostly because A, he does whatever the fuck he wants to do, and B, he very much embraced the culture in Shanghai, where he was able to do that, and now he's back in London, where everything is a bit more restrictive, but he refuses to bow to these restrictions, so he's just very weird, especially when someone like Steven comes around, and Steven is very much like, I need to conform, I need to be under the radar, I cannot for any reason be the weird guy. And Lucian picks up on that so quickly and makes it his sole mission to get Steven out of that headspace. The constant banter, the way he's constantly nagging Steven, the way he is constantly just not pissing Steven off, but Lucian uses every single opportunity he has to make Stephen blush one way or another. And he has the most fun doing that in the most creative ways possible. And that is it's a vibe, and I love him for it. This is a queer historical romance thing. Be aware it's a bit smutty, but it's a great read, and I actually realize I need to reread them because they are great, these books. Don't count Stephen out, because Stephen has a mischievous streak to him. He's just not using it very much, but once he is comfortable enough to let it out, the boy can dish it out. He can make Lucian blush. So, the next one, I can't even name the character that is a gremlin in here, because everyone is a gremlin in here. I'm talking about The Stranger Times by C.K. McDonnell. Everyone in here is a gremlin in their own flavor. Everyone working at The Stranger Times is just flat out strange and weird, and they don't bow to any restrictions. Even our most normal characters, of which we have 2, even they are weird, because they have to keep up with all the others, so I guess something rubs off, or you have to be a certain kind of weird to keep up with the other kind of weird. But in The Stranger Times, we follow a lady who has been down on her luck and she desperately needs a new job, and The Stranger Times hires her. What she doesn't know is that The Stranger Times is rather strange. They are a newspaper, but they write about everything and anything you would not see on your regular ass newscast, because they report on cryptid sightings, they report on alien abductions, they report on all the strange things that may or may not be true. Some of them believe they are true, some of them believe they are not true. It is so whack. We have a guy who is operating their very own printing press who is refusing to wear clothes. He talks about himself in the third person, and sometimes he refers to a weird angel person who turns out is actually real and possesses him from time to time, consensually. Then we have the assistant. I would call her the assistant. She desperately wants to be a punk girl, but also on the other hand, she just wants to cuddle up with a nice, comfortable hoodie, a hot mug of cocoa, and watch some cartoons. Neon hair, anything you say to her is yeah, whatever, but then she's like the most capable hacker to have ever lived. I love her. Also, apparently she can dropkick someone out of a window without even flinching. And I think she can cause earthquakes with her brain. There was a thing at the end there. Then we have our 2 field reporters. They are roommates, they are not gay for each other. One of them is gay, but they are not gay for each other, and they live together. One of them is an old-timey guy, and he believes wholeheartedly that ghosts are real, but aliens are not. Whereas his roommate is a modern guy, and he wholeheartedly believes that aliens are real, but ghosts are not. And yes, they get into a fight over it every single day. And every Monday, right on the clock, the old-timey guy has had enough, and he climbs up to the roof and threatens to jump off to just end his suffering. That is the first scene of how our main character, Hannah, meets these 2 guys. The old-timey guy is standing on the roof, threatening to jump off because it is all too much, all being a meeting he has to attend, and his roommate is leaning out of a window and basically screaming, "Do a backflip." And then there's the boss of this whole thing. He speaks in caps lock 24/7. He chases a drink with a drink. He says no to absolutely everything, including the good stories. He thinks it is a brilliant idea to send the guy who believes in ghosts but not aliens and the guy who believes in aliens but not ghosts after a possessed toilet. And he shoots himself in the foot at one point. All he worries about is the fact that the police is taking his gun away. Never mind his foot literally falling off. Yeah. And the 2 normal characters, Hannah and the editorial assistant, sorry, I forgot her name. They somehow manage to keep all of this functioning. Don't ask me how, but they somehow know how to make this work. Yeah, this is absolute chaos, and I love it dearly. This is if you love British humor, read The Stranger Times. It's hilarious. Next up is a book that I don't think I've ever talked about on this channel, and that is Ragdoll by Daniel Cole. This is one of my favorite thrillers ever because this book actually had me clutching my pearls with the plot twist that was in here. I don't think it'll work on a reread. I do have to reread this book. I don't think it'll work on the reread, but yeah, the plot twist was plot twisting. Anyway, who's the gremlin in this one? Our main character, Wolf. First and foremost, what brilliant naming is that, Wolf? Because Wolf is a nickname. And he got that nickname not because he's like the super cool cop who sniffs out anyone. No. His full name is William Oliver Leighton Fox. So people just call him Wolf because that's shorter, and he hates the first name William. But yeah, his parents named him. And in this one, we follow Wolf, who is trying to get back into work after he, and this is again why he's a gremlin, he caught a killer and he went to court with the killer, and the killer then was, on a technicality, released. But Wolf was very sure that this guy is a killer, and if he's released, he will kill again. The killer is on his way out of the courtroom, smiling smugly as one does, and Wolf is just standing there super angry, and without thinking about it, he just punches the guy and breaks his nose, and he screams at the judge, "You made a mistake." Like, he goes full, like, he goes nuts. And he's suspended for that, and then in the end it turns out he was right, because that killer went out and killed again, and like very horrifically. But Wolf is now known as the guy who just punches people in court, and he got like a disciplinary thing for that and blah, and even though he was right, people are not really trusting him. So he is now desperately trying to claw his way back into work. And work is also the only thing he has left. His wife left him. He is living in an apartment that has zero furniture except a little futon he's sleeping on. That's the kind of vibe we have here with Wolf, and he just does not give a fuck. His reputation is already ruined. He has nothing left to lose, and that is how he starts working on his cases. He just does not give a singular fuck, and I can respect that. Also, in book 2, we have another character who is also very much a gremlin who does what he wants, and there is this running joke that no one knows how to pronounce his name, not even he himself. So you get 2 gremlins if you read this trilogy. If you want a good thriller, read Ragdoll. This one was good. Stay away from the TV show though, because they changed absolutely everything, and that made it horrible. Let's change the format a little bit and go to a manga. The absolute most gremlin of them all that I could think of was Black Star in Soul Eater. Technically, every single character in Soul Eater is a gremlin, but Black Star is the one to rule them all, because this guy, it's just so funny. So the backstory of Black Star is that he is the last surviving member of this really cool, very secretive, very successful ninja clan. They were known to be assassins in the night, and they were really good. You could not find them. No one ever saw them coming, no one ever saw them going. People just dropped dead, and when there was nothing else around, they knew this was this ninja clan, right? But you could never trace them back. And he's the only surviving member of that family because something happened. But he's trying to follow in his family's footsteps. He's trying to follow that legacy of being a ninja. I'm actually holding up volume 2 because that is his prologue. We actually see that in his first appearance. His prologue is he goes through these steps that a ninja has to fulfill, you know? Be quiet, be in the shadows, be quick, all of that stuff. And then he immediately breaks all those rules by jumping onto the table of the guy he is supposed to bring in, loudly announcing himself with his whole name and his whole chest, and he is announcing exactly what he's here to do. He literally jumps up and is like, "My name is Black Star, and I'm going to kill you!" And everyone's like, okay. He's like the worst ninja to have ever ninja'd, but somehow he always gets out alive. Because this guy is fueled by his ego. He thinks he is the greatest ninja alive, without ever having done a singular ninja thing. It is brilliant. And he survives a lot of shit that is thrown his way, simply because he is too stubborn to accept that he is not the greatest man to have ever lived. It's the whole vibe. He literally fist fights God, basically, because God said, "You are not a god," and he's like, "Bet you I am." That's literally what he does. Well, technically he's fighting the son of God, but potato, right? I love this guy so much. I love him so much. He is such a weirdo. He's not my favorite character, but he's such a weirdo. Back to the books. The next character I have for you is Fetch Phillips from The Last Smile in Sunder City, or just all of the Fetch Phillips Archives books. Fetch Phillips, again, he has lost basically everything, but he just keeps going. Fetch Phillips is a private detective for magical creatures slash people in a world where magic has been tainted and destroyed by humans. Fetch Phillips is a human, and he kind of helps he helps all of these magical people who don't have magic anymore because they were dealt such a shitty hand by his people, and he was actively involved in the whole thing, so he is now on a giant guilt trip and is trying to make up for past sins. But he's not very good at it. He mostly figures shit out because of luck. This man doesn't even have functioning socks. He does not know how to function in a society. He never has, and he never will. There was a time in his life where people told him what to do because he was in some sort of military situation, and that was when he was functioning, but all of that is gone. So now he's just sitting there in his very fancy chimera coat, which is the only piece of clothing that survives his lifestyle. and he doesn't know what else to do. He has a desk because it was already there. He has a chair because it was already there. And he has a bed because it was already there. Other than that, he owns absolutely nothing. And everything he has is basically gifted to him because people realize, oh my god, this guy will die if I don't give him at least a tiny bit of help. And although all of this is that, like, he doesn't want to have all the riches and stuff. He likes his kind of disheveled life. And he is definitely a glutton for punishment because he gets beat up every other chapter. And he's like, yeah, I deserve that. He is basically that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean when Jack gets slapped. He's like, yeah, I deserve that. That is Fetch Phillips in a nutshell. But, like, there is a point where you realize he doesn't necessarily deserve that because he's actually a good guy. He's actually a really good guy. He's trying. He did some dumb stuff in his youth. Who hasn't? He did some dumb stuff when he was young because he was literally misled and used by other people. Most of the dumb stuff he did at the behest of other people who he thought he could trust because he was too dumb to ask questions. And now he's like, no, I deserve all of that shit that is happening to me. And it's like, no, buddy, have like an ounce of self-respect. But alas, he doesn't. So now he's roped into all of these weird mysteries, and he actually ends up as this semi-hero of the magical community because at one point his friendly neighbor who constantly supplies him with the coffee because he actually believes in what Fetch Phillips is doing declares him to be the only person who is actively trying to bring magic back, and Fetch is like, don't do that, no! And then people actually come to him and ask if they can help or if he can help them, and he's like, it's just a whole vibe. It's just a whole vibe to have this depresso kid go through absolutely the worst things imaginable and come out on the other side bleeding but still somehow on his feet. I love this series so much. Would it be a video by me if I don't recommend you to read Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan? Probably not. There are gremlins in here. My favorite character is the most put together character to have ever been put together, but there are gremlins in here. First and foremost, his son and his son's companion. Tanya and Capoel are enabling each other at some point. In the beginning, Tanya is very much put together. He's the son of his father. He's a soldier. He knows how the cookie crumbles. But then shit just keeps happening to him, and he refuses to accept things as they are, so he constantly fights against the stream, and that makes him such a weirdo in a certain way. But on the other hand, it makes him exactly the kind of guy they need in most of these situations, and he figures out a lot of shit that is going on behind the scenes. But yeah, he's in book one, he's put together. Capoel, on the other hand, she saw Tanya and was like, I can make him worse. And she does. She's a literal gremlin. She's mute. She got kidnapped and then injured, so she lost her voice to that. Which does not mean that this woman does not know how to communicate. if she has something to say to you, she will make sure you listen. And oh boy, she rips Tanya a new one every other day simply because she can. And she's described as very small, very scrawny, and she always like digs through the dirt where people have bled, and she collects hair and fingernails and drops of blood and spit. Like, she collects all of these weird things, and it has to do with her magic. It has to do with what she does. It's not quite your typical voodoo, but she needs something from someone else to use her magic on them. And because of the way she looks, and because of the things she needs to do her magic, she's like always huddled up and doing things, and everyone's like, what the fuck is this girl doing? She's also from a country where people are perceived as savages. Her people are perceived as savages because they live out in the jungle in tribes. When Tanya brings her to the big city, everyone's like, what the fuck is happening? And Capoel loves that. She loves that people are just confused, if not scared of her. She loves that shit. The way she sometimes grins at people just because she confuses them is giving me life. And Tanya is just standing in the back. Yeah, no, that's just what she does. That's just what she does. Don't question it. Just let her do it. And that is why they together are like the worst. And I love them. But yeah, Capoel also sounds like a great friend to have. Like, if I ever met Capoel, I would want to be her friend. Not just because she's super powerful and could probably rip me to pieces with a single thought, but like, she actually sounds like a fun person. And the last gremlin characters I have for you are Vanya and Ragne from Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. Vanya is just a kleptomaniac through and through, and I love that for her. She deserves some pretty things. But she is also, again, she's one of these characters who does not give a fuck. She has her plan, she has her idea, and she goes through with it. If you follow her, good. If you are against her, well, tough luck for you, I guess. The chaos she brings is beautiful. The chaos that is following her is even more beautiful because now she is scrambling to get out of that. She is a kleptomaniac, and when the goddess tells her you have to pay for your greed, she is so confused as to what could have possibly gone wrong. You know, she is the one who has spent years performing a Robin Hood act, but instead of giving to the poor, she's giving to herself because she thinks, I am the poor one here. I love her. I love her. I love her. She's also very great at teasing other people, specifically Emmerich, specifically that boy, and she loves to make him blush. It's a mutual thing, but she loves to make him blush. She loves to tease him about the fact that he is like so much sticking to the rules and blah blah blah, and she's like this not very much sticking to the rules person. She loves to do that. She loves to pickpocket him. She loves to pickpocket a lot of people. Then you have her chaos confronted with the chaos of Ragne. Now, Ragne is a half goddess. Her mom is a goddess. Her dad was a human. She herself is a shapeshifter. She grew up with her mom, and she's a shapeshifter. Her powers wax and wane with the moon phases, and her favorite form is that of a cat. Do I need to say more? Yes, I do have to say more. Well, there is this thing that she does where she calls people not necessarily by their name, but she turns their name into a title. She always says the Vanya, the Emmerich, the insert name here. Like, she turns your name into a title, and she says the weirdest shit because she doesn't get humans, because she grew up with her mom, who's a forest goddess. She has no idea how humans work. She really wants to learn how humans work because her dad was a human, but she has no idea how humans work, how the human world works, so she says the craziest shit and thinks that is right. And people are just like, no, Ragne, you can't say these things. No, that's not how that works. Okay. She full-heartedly believes she is right in whatever she does. And in a lot of cases, she actually is right. She just says things in a very strange way, and that is just very cute, but also kind of unhinged. I love her. So there you have it. Vanya and Ragne. I love both of them dearly. That was actually like a minus point for book 2, Painted Devils. We got less of Ragne. She was still in there, but we got less of her, and I'm like, but where's my baby girl? I need more. And there you go. Should you ever find yourself in need of some gremlin main characters for whatever reason, be it because you want to read something with some unhinged chaos in it, or because you are participating in a readathon that has that specific prompt for whatever reason, there you go. Gremlins galore. I love all of them very dearly. I can recommend all of these reads to you anyway, and yeah, I am deeply in love with all of these characters, so yeah. If you made it this far into the video, let me know if you have any Gremlin character recommendations, if you have read any of these books, if you enjoyed them, if you didn't like them. If you made it this far into the video and don't feel the need to talk to me, then leave a clown emoji. Leave a clown emoji down in the comments below. Yeah, that's it. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye.